Okay, welcome back to Between Two Buildings and the special edition Between Two Barns, if you will, and this is also Two Men Invest. Talking to you about all things prop tech, data, real estate, and best practices around all of the above. So once again, Matt Sampson, Taylor Odegard, pleasure to be with you on this special edition here. Taylor,
coming at you live from Atlanta, Georgia, out at Serenbe. Beautiful ranch. We're with our investment group executive summit offsite. Got to spend some time with about 40 other CEOs in the SaaS business space to better understand all the challenges for integrations that they see across their different business lines and verticals. An incredible couple days of learning and sharing of ideas, and so we're excited to give you a kind of special edition with some horses in the background. You guys will see in some B-roll coming up.
Excellent. All right. So we're going to be talking about ERP systems today, how to select, how to approach the project, how to think about the data, and a couple things off the bat. So according to Gartner, 70% of ERP projects fail to reach their goals. And then a study by Rand says 67% take longer than expected and 64% go over budget. So a lot at stake here, a lot at risk. We know these are complicated projects, so we want to kind of open that up a little bit. Talk about kind of, Taylor, what you've seen over the years in wearing different hats and how to go about it. So let's talk about that. I mean, between Navigator, your past lives, you've operated in these systems, you've used them, you've done Navigator projects. What have you encountered over the years?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Yeah, 20 years in the commercial real estate business. You know, starting off as a young researcher at some of the big brokerage shops, all the way through today to being on the other side of it in the SaaS software side. Seen a lot, if you will, and especially there's platforms that have kind of homegrown solutions at organizations that are still alive today. Yep. Probably Genesis back in the 90s when Access databases were popular, to some traditional ERPs that founded in the 70s and 80s that are still alive today and continue to grow. Yep. The big ones, the Yardis, the MRIs, the Real Pages, the JD Edwards, the Altus, Argus, Evergreen, solutions even coming forward to the VTSs of the world. I mean, there's dozens and dozens of different platforms and sources of truth and systems of record that are leveraged in commercial real estate, and they're highly important, they're highly powerful, and they're a huge part of the infrastructure of how these companies operate and understand their revenues, understand income and expenses and accounting and personnel, and it ranges in a single real estate company stack. You may not believe it, there might be 10 or 15 different sources of truth sometimes. Yeah. And that can be ranging from your accounting system on premise to your valuation tools to your HR tools to your email servers. It's all over the place. So a lot of times implementation and organization and really solidifying your tech stack is probably the biggest endeavor you'll ever do as an org.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's absolutely critical, and again, high stakes, and a lot goes into it from investment and also just internal resources. So how do you go about choosing your system, right? Because there's different schools of thought. Every company is different. Yeah. Every portfolio is different. So maybe you're kind of climbing up the ladder. Maybe it's a lateral move. But what should customers be thinking about approaching these projects? I mean, are there common pitfalls? Are there things specific to these companies and portfolios that they should think about and consider when planning for these projects?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're talking about the core accounting solutions in property management systems. There are definitely some idiosyncrasies to each of them that can play to the favor and to the detriment to the operator. There are systems that are more geared towards traditional office and straight over tackle commercial. Mm-hmm. There is ones that gravitate towards retail and hospitality and have different kinds of elements that are more specific to percentage rents and RevPAR and ADR. There's ones that are more specific to multifamily and call it the smaller occupants, if you will, the 12 to 14 month tenants, and then all the accounting things that come into play from work orders to billing to invoicing to obviously the pure play accounting, but income statement, balance sheet, all of those things. Each one of these systems has, I would say, strengths and weaknesses, and it's really important to understand from your infrastructure what's important to you, what are you trying to get out of them. I think the paramount element, especially in this world of where we're moving towards, where data is so important, and the ability to analyze it with speed and accuracy, being able to integrate it across multiple systems, is access, making sure that you're not putting yourself into what we call a black box, picking a system that doesn't have the ability for you to API your data or ETL your data centrally at limited or no cost is really important for you guys. You're already paying an arm and a leg for a lot of these systems. Your data should be yours is always important, and obviously working with great operating partners that understand how how important your data is to you. Not punishing you for trying to get it together and understand it and be good with it. So yeah.
Okay. And so maybe at the risk of having you repeat yourself a little bit, but if you're put yourself in a customer's shoes here, and if you're sort of, let's call it, interviewing and shopping around and trying to pick your new partner, what are maybe the top 2-3 things that you would advise a customer to straight away ask these companies, and how is this going to get done, and any advice for people out there in the market?
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost is what is their product roadmap for the platform? Is it something that's stale and stagnant and hasn't really innovated in a while? Are you leveraging a product that maybe is getting deprecated or kind of falling away, or intentionally getting migrated into another service that you're going to have to be aware of? Because change management's hard, and the last thing you want to do is implement an ERP and find out 24 months later that is getting sunset for something else or moved elsewhere or no longer supported. Is probably the scariest word for any CFO or CRO, going, oh my gosh, what are we going to do to help transition all this stuff? So I think first and foremost, is there a vision for the technology, a vision for the platform to stay evergreen, to stay up to date? Number 2, data ownership, making sure you own the data. It's yours. You can do whatever the heck you want with it. You can share it. You can sell it to your own team if you need to. You can really own it yourself, I think, is always important. And then I would say 3 is access. Kind of goes alongside the ownership side of things, making sure that platform is not a black box. And this goes from enterprise ERPs all the way into your on-premise solutions. You make sure you're building something that has pipes, if you will. The last thing you want is to build something that has all of this incredible data, and then you really can't unlock it, or it's very difficult or very expensive to unlock it. Is a huge risk to any organization, for sure.
Yeah, and it's something that could be catastrophic down the line. You've already spent the money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where do you go from there? Okay, so Taylor, let's look into your crystal ball here for a second, and you've been around a while. You're a technology guy. You're a real estate guy. What do you see this going? Let's say maybe over the next 2 years, the horizon. What should customers expect from the ERP? Call it prop tech ERP market, system of record market. What are the trends, and where do you think things are going ahead of what maybe we can't see yet?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing definitely an inflection point in innovation, especially over the last 6 to 12 months. Obviously, AI and agentic AI and all the things that are coming there. That's coming into all verticals of business, in financial services and healthcare, which we're learning about today with a bunch of our buddies in our portfolio companies. I think what it's going to come down to is it is an arms race again. It's a technology arms race once again, and it's going to be who can provide the customers with the fastest, most intelligent solutions that do more for less, if you will. You're asking less of yourself and you're asking more of your engine to support you, stand on its shoulders to leverage day-to-day tasks, and the monotony of doing financial analysis and waterfalls and income statements and balance sheet analysis. What if you could leverage the future of these tools to do a lot more for you, from all the way from the raw input of data from the journal entries and property management level up to portfolio management, asset management, CFO work, where they could essentially every day have a cup of coffee and have the engine literally telling them what's going on in the portfolio, what's performing well, where you're seeing revenue growth, where you're seeing expense management issues, where you're seeing work order inflections and tenant retention issues. What if you could actually just sit down and your platforms are telling you what's going on and almost diagnosing the issues perhaps in your portfolio, or the strengths thereover, that can be leveraged for the acquisitions team to go, hey, we should buy more like these buildings in this market because of the way they will perform, or let's stay away from assets like this or this type of age group, or hey, look, we're not diversified enough. There's some risk and concentration risk in our portfolio based on what we're buying and where we're buying it. I think that the technology arms race, especially for the ERPs, is it's important for them to continue to invest in new technologies, and we've seen a lot of that. I know partners of ours like Yardi have just had a big conference, and they're expanding their AI presence, which is awesome to see them just really taking a leadership approach there. I know MRI is doing the same thing, and it's really cool to see that. And I think from that perspective too, it's also going to be a consolidation. I think that the operators are less and less inclined to log in and out of 5 different systems. It's exhausting. You get technology fatigue. And so I think that ultimately the consolidation of the different aptitudes of commercial real estate operations in more centralized platforms, where it's maybe 1 or 2 systems. You've got an ERP, and then you've got an analytics reporting AI engine that kind of sits on top of it, which is obviously what Navigator does. And which is why we love working with these partners. Is we try to be a value add to every customer, and 1 + 1 = 5 is our goal with what they do on all of that really granular accounting and finance and analytics. We had a wind blow. Bringing all that really important accounting financial data that they're working with every single day. It's really important to bring it forward into useful technology. And so I think that the siloing effect, the silos within silos, has got to go away. Data's got to be centralized. More importantly, the application, the programs have to feel cohesive. It's got to feel seamless. It doesn't matter if you're a property manager entry level or you are a CFO. It's got to be easy. It's got to be understandable. It's got to be fast. And it's got to be right. Validity of the information and the curation of the business logic, and that it's all done the right way. I think that we're really going to see a consolidation of technology where there really are, core central, platforms again that are bringing in some of these solutions that have become point solutions over the last 10 years in prop tech, if you will. And kind of you've seen this extrapolation of different ideas into different products, not platforms. I think the platforming is going to come back together, because that's really the way that AI and machine learning works. Is it needs to have, call it, 1 degree of separation in order for it to work really well and really efficiently.
So. And it should be that easy, right? To have a cup of coffee and sit down and get a summary and get an understanding of where are we at today, and what do I need to be focused on? What does my team need to care about? And I'm not sure it's quite that simple and straightforward right now. But, hopefully we'll get there soon.
Yeah, that's the goal. We're excited about this. This is a fun time to be in real estate technology, and seeing markets really strive and leverage. And I think that this is going to be an interesting renaissance for the commercial real estate markets post COVID, where we can really see an inflection in not only the use of technology in real estate, but also in and of itself accelerating how we do business every day. So.
Excellent. Well, for anyone out there kind of feeling like they're maybe at a crossroads where it's, hey, what am I getting out of this investment? Or our business is going this way. Maybe there's a big acquisition, or new expansion into new sectors. We would love to have a conversation and kind of talk about best practices, what we've seen. And maybe it doesn't have to be as drastic as a full rip and replace and 18 months and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Maybe it's we can kind of rethink the way you're using the data you have and make it less arduous. So that's just a little sort of open invitation, and we'd love to have that dialogue.
All right. Well, appreciate your time again.
Yeah.
Fun.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Yeah.